The best ones I've seen, they're simple, they're quick, it's short ROI, and it's a couple pages that I can immediately turn around, plug and play with the board.
And you can tell when one of your peers, like your chief product officer, is passionate about a product, whether they're repeating something that the vendor told them to repeat. Right now, what I do challenge right now in the macro environment that is more difficult is the timing of the purchase.
We are seeing clients and CFOs hold on to cash more, so they're a bit more reluctant to spend. Like Tom said, it's the timing. Much more focused on doing smaller projects that can scale out, especially self-funding. So we see a lot of smaller projects starting, create savings, and then use that savings to then create a budget for future transformation. That's a big thing we see.
I would expect the champion, right, to have done a lot of the groundwork, and as part of their sort of return on investment and their ROI calculation, right, to determine in terms of all of the benefits that results from within their specific department or function, as well as, to your point, Tom, downstream or other departments that purchase could involve. Sometimes the FP&A team within the finance team will help with that calculation, and that will also lead. I shouldn't say this, but it will probably add to the credibility of that ROI calculation, right? If there's been a bit of a check by the finance team.
One of the things that we look at when CFO finance transformations are successful, a big part of that is change management. And actually, so if you're going to buy a piece of software and nobody's going to use it, upstream or downstream, you've just wasted your money, right? So we see a lot of people buy products, buy solutions, and just put them on a shelf and never use them. And so we always try and think about, adoption. How's the culture going to be impacted? How is the tool going to impact the employee experience, or the solution going to impact the employee experience? Because you definitely have to consider all of that. Otherwise, you're doing something in isolation. You're not going to get your value back from it. By the time you get to the CFO, you should have already proven your method out, and you should have already convinced the CFO -1, -2 that the product can work, the solution can work. And when it comes to CFO, for me, simplicity is give them 3 things they can hang their hat on. 3 simple messages that are more appropriate to their vision. How does it align with their strategy? Almost branding it, giving them those slogans that they can think. So this, as a CFO, I want to give them as much information as I can that's not proprietary, because the more information I give them, the better answer I'm going to get back on the ROI.
Whoever the champion is, has to be able to demonstrate and explain the value in their own words.
Ideally, when I've seen it work best in the past, when my champion was able to get a hand on the software and actually demo the software to me while they're explaining what the software does. When it's your own people showing you the software, that can be incredibly powerful.
And I rarely interact or meet a sales rep directly of a vendor, but I will sometimes I will meet with the manager or the VP of that sales rep.
They need to know when I'm busy. They need to know.
Oh, interesting. Yes,
a month end. They need to know when my budget cycle is coming up, when I'm prioritizing investments. So the more you know about my financial cycle and when to engage me in my financial planning cycle, the better it's going to go for you.
To being able to explain and the value, right, of what to be able to explain and demonstrate the value of what that software provides, in a way that's super easy to understand and to track and to implement afterwards. So it's that ROI calc. I think that's the one thing that I look for. But the ROI calc not necessarily done by the vendor, but done by my team.